third selection tonight is from Tamura Brewery. This is a brewery in Fusa, in the western part of Tokyo, kind of close to the American Yokota Air Base out there, actually. And the brand name is called Kasen. And actually, there's an interesting story about the name. It means like good spring, and it was named for because the well on the property had water that was suitable for brewing, and so they named it. It was like Fortunate Well or something like that, right? And they were actually founded in 1822, and it's one of the like more common brands that you can find, and this is a real common product that's around. Like you can find a lot of izakaya and stuff like that, and I wanted to include some kind of like everyday special things. So yeah, try this. And tonight we're having it with hamaguri, which is clam. Actually, I want to say boiled. Steamed, sorry, thank you. Steamed in sake with spring vegetables. So,
for some reason, it reminds me of Japanese hot springs of onsen.
oh, so you're getting a little bit of maybe. I can kind of see that. That can sometimes be a fault. Sometimes it can mean that there's like sulfur in it, which I don't
think so.
I don't think that's exactly what's going on here.
No, it's the wood, I think.
Wood? Okay, so what I think is going on here is that there are a lot of this isn't a ginjo or anything like that. It's actually polished to 60%, but I think there are a lot of what's called fusel alcohols. So there's ethanol, and then there's things like hexanol and isoamyl alcohol, but especially hexanol has a kind of woody, kind of this aroma. But it's not, if it's there in a large amount, it can be bad. I actually kind of, it's an interesting aroma, I think. It's just different than your fruity kind of sake, right?
Yeah, it's different from the Hakutsuru or Ozeki. It's a bit different from that.
Yeah.
But still in the realm.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's your common sake. It's a very sake. Let's put it that. Let's try it.
Cheers.
It's very easy to drink.
Yeah. It's I think it's technically, as you say, one of the very common sake, but like not as pungent necessarily as some of them. So yeah, easy to drink. Not fruity or anything, but also not too sharp.
Right. Yeah, it's really soft.
Yeah.
Like really soft in the mouth. It actually has a relatively high acidity of like 1.6. It's like a little bit sharp, but it's just soft.
Yeah.
Like it's like
You don't taste it.
almost buttery in a way. Let's try this. Okay, so what do we think about the pairing for this? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I give it a solid thumbs up. Any comments on that? Then I'll go. Yeah, I think what we said, it's very smooth, very buttery, and like with the hamaguri, it just gets even more buttery, and it doesn't have a lot of flavor to interfere. So I really think this is something that you want to choose with, and that's actually what the bottle says. Choose to drink it with things that don't have a lot of their own flavor. I can see where it can just be, like, for example, if you eat it with a pizza, it would just be completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But with something that has very subtle, light flavors of its own, they kind of just enhance each other.
Yeah, I think in general, hamaguri, like or clam in general, right, does have a very distinct, strong flavor. But it's still like a gentle kind of flavor that is not like, so to speak, in your face, at least when it's fresh.
Right. It has a distinct flavor, but it doesn't have like overpowering.
Correct. Yeah. And if I think, for example, would this pair well with the Morisake that we had previously, I would say, that would be too strong, too harsh.
The sake.
Yeah. And with
It
this
might have
one,
been okay with the first one.
yeah, this one would go.
Maybe.
I think so. But with this one, the thing is like, I think in images, so what I see is like, the sake is basically like holding up the food. It's supporting from underneath without overpowering, but still being present and giving an accent.
Yeah. I have to say, I was really surprised.
Yeah.
I thought that it might be just kind of like your basic kind of, supermarket sake, but it, especially pairing it with food, and food like this, maybe with sashimi, maybe even with sushi, it might be okay. Just those typical kind of izakaya fare kind of foods, I think it's going to go really well with, so don't pass it by. So our final sake of the night is from Ishikawa Brewery, also in Fusa in the west of Tokyo. And they were founded in 1863. And what's kind of interesting is they were one of the first breweries to brew beer in Japan. They started in 1888. Yeah, and they revived their beer brewery in 1998 or something like that. So that's an interesting fact. But this has a really cool, I really like these labels. And actually they revived a brand from a brewery that was in Akiruno City in Tokyo, which is even a little bit further in the western part of Tokyo. And the brewery was Morita Brewery, and they were founded in 1697. So a very old brewery, but they stopped at some point. But they were there was some connection with Ishikawa Brewery and this brewery, and so they kind of revived the label and revived the brand, which is Yaegiku. And something that's interesting about this is it's brewed using koshihikari table rice that's grown in Akiruno. So it's very rare to find, because Tokyo doesn't have a lot of agricultural land. It's very rare to find, rice, sake that uses rice actually grown in Tokyo. So that was an interesting selection. So let's try that. We're doing this warmed because it is aged, and it didn't say for how long. Oh, that's okay. Oh, you might, okay. Yeah, so we'll do it I'm just like, get this done. Get this over with.
I'm confused.
Confused? What do you get?
It's like the typical like hot sake, like the alcohol sting that you get in your nostrils initially, but
Yeah, I mean that's going to come because the alcohol comes up in the, when it's warm.
it also has this. It's hard to describe. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it.
Oh, okay, then I'll go. It's very citrusy. to me. It's like one of those clove oranges that you make like for Christmas or something. It reminds me of Christmas. It reminds me of snickerdoodles.
I don't even know what that is.
Snickerdoodles are these cookies that my mom always made that had like cinnamon. They're basically like cinnamon sugar cookies. And I'm getting. It's like spicy, citrusy, like sugary.
Yeah, I'm not really getting
bakery.
it.
It's bringing up so many images, like childhood images.
There's something that I cannot put my finger on. But
Let's try it. Let's see what it's like
Yeah.
tasting it.
日本だって結構高いよ。でしょ？いや、まあくれたね。日本帰ってきた時に。
We're both like, what is that? What is that? It's like pear juice. You go ahead. It tastes like pear nectar. It's like pear juice, but it's like got like bits of the pear. Oh well, yeah. Yeah, it's very like it's like I'm eating a pear compote. Like
for me, I'm kind of getting a similar feel, like it reminds me of the taste of cheese.
it's very complex. It's not like the one that we had before was a little bit on the simple side, which is kind of like sake. This is sake. This is like, what is this? I think if you gave this to somebody, they would have heard and tell you what it was. So what we have pairing it with here tonight is a ragout of beef, just basically on rice. And I asked for this because I knew this was a little bit on the sweeter side, and I thought it might go well with beef and tomato, and also with rice bowls. So, let's do it. Okay, wanna go? We'll do it. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think it worked really well. Tomato is kind of weird because people have a like the image of it is sour, right? But you know, actually, when you think about it, when you cook it down, it gets quite sweet.
Yeah.
And then the rice actually has the sweetness. So I think the sweetness of this is actually like bringing everything together. It's kind of acting as another sauce.
I absolutely agree. I mean, particularly with sake that is aged, you always get this like full aroma, right? As you were describing earlier with the complexity, etc., etc. So if you have something with tomato, it feels like you are having additional herbs in a tomato saucy kind of thing. It pairs really, really well with.
Well, it just doesn't. Also, it doesn't lose out. All right, so Yoji, we tasted 4 sake from breweries in Tokyo, and out of the ones that we tasted, which would you like to taste?
For various reasons, which I could name each one.
Yeah.
This one.
Ooh.
I think it is definitely a type of sake that is not very common. You do not get it everywhere, and this is something that I would like to share with other people as well.
Yeah, I think this would be a really cool gift. I think it would be a real surprise to people who don't know a lot about sake and don't know a lot about Tokyo sake. But all of these were great
Yeah.
tonight, I think. And so my recommendation to you is if you come to Tokyo, don't overlook Tokyo sake, and really kind of look for Tokyo sake while you're here instead of buying things that are just known for their name, like Dasai, or I shouldn't say that, that are just known for their name or known for their reputation, because Tokyo has a lot of things to offer when it comes to sake. And hopefully, maybe I'll be doing a part 2 with some other breweries from Tokyo in the future. The sake is getting to me. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and keep exploring sake.